Kylian Mbappé is back. He scored against, Bilbao. No?
Getafe.
Getafe. Oh, you were at Bilbao. There we go.
They're playing
Bilbao tomorrow.
Yes.
See, there's too much football, Gary. I can't remember. Getafe, 17th place, Getafe, Bellingham with a penalty. Mbappe looking like he's back. Do we actually have that video? Clinton Codd was at that game. Let's take a look at what the fans had to say about Kylian Mbappé.
We promised to play it yesterday.
Yeah. We're here. We're here.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Mbappe's performance today?
Oh man, he missed a couple shots at the end. I would say I'd give it a solid 7.
Start off as a 10, and then he had a few missed chances, so I'm gonna drop him down to a 9.
Today's 9.
8, 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Jesus Christ!
I say 7.
7. Today maybe 6. Tomorrow maybe 7.
Mbappé today 7.
I would say 6. 7.
An 8.
6.
Skill.
10. I would say 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10.
For now, enjoy, and as I see you soon, stay glued to Sporty TV. As usual, Ebwe. T. Bah!
He still haunts us from the videos even when he's not in the studio. Alex, there were some shocking answers there regarding
9
Mbappé.
over 10. 9 over 10.
They were drunk. It was after the game. Remember that, Gary.
What were they watching? 9 over 10.
What do you guys give Mbappé a rating as of right now for that match?
For that,
It was just based on that match, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
one match. That's why.
I think I'm going to be generous. No, I mean, fair. I think, I'm not being generous, but being fair, I think it's right. I'm going to say 8.5.
Gary, what do you think for the match against Getafe? Scored a goal.
Scored a goal. Did he
Scored a
do
goal.
much else?
Gave the penalty to
Did he do
Bellingham.
much else?
Yeah, that's why Alex gave him an 8.5, because he gave Bellingham a penalty. So knock that down. So 7.5.
At 7, yeah, I'm giving it a 7. A 7.5.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was floating too. Like, I think 8, you got to be a little bit more on it. But I think it's good for Mbappe to be playing back on the left. I mean, we saw against Liverpool, and that was his first game properly being on the left, and it didn't go over well. But it seemed like it worked out better. Could that also be because Rodrigo was back in the lineup? I think that was super important for Real Madrid. I think Rodrigo is one that keeps going under the radar, and he was crucial.
Yeah, I think also the thing about Mbappe, and we've talked about how, perhaps we want to see and we know we can see more from him. 10 goals this season, I think 8 in La Liga. That game against Getafe, and I have to put it out there, I thought Getafe were particularly bad in that game. They didn't really offer a lot, but I think when you look at how Mbappe played, he really did seem to make that left-hand side his own, and I think he looked like he felt a lot more comfortable, and he was getting into the right positions. Yes, he missed a few chances, but I think it's good to see him getting those opportunities. And when you look at perhaps games gone by where he's seemed a bit frustrated that he's perhaps not getting in those positions and getting the opportunities. So, I think a really positive performance from Real Madrid and from Kylian Mbappe to see, he's slowly but surely settling into the team, and I think as the weeks go on, he'll only get better and better.
Mm-hmm. Gary, I have to ask you, because Clinton always talks about this situation with Real Madrid. They're beating these teams comfortably like a Getafe, but we have to remind ourselves that they are 17th in La Liga. They beat a team like Leganés. They beat, Celta de Vigo, even though Celta is a difficult team to play, especially at their home. But then they come against the likes of Atletico, they draw. Milan, they lose by a margin. Barca by a margin. At Liverpool, 2-0, but they barely had a shot on target. The anomaly in this one would be the Dortmund match, where they came back in that Champions League game. But it seems like whenever they do go up against higher competition, they still struggle. They are playing Atalanta next week, Gary, with one Ademola Lookman.
One Ademola Lookman, who will be looking to use Real Madrid as a surefire bet to win the African Player of the Year award without question. So
But
there
do
are
you
so many
see?
motivations all around the pitch. Yeah.
No, 100%. I think this is going to be difficult for both sides. But do you see, with the likes of Mbappe kind of getting into a groove maybe here, starting off with this game, and then tomorrow, like Alex mentioned, they're taking on Bilbao. Do you see this pattern of Madrid shifting, maybe finally? Or is it still going to be kind of, you're not convinced, like you said at the beginning of the show?
I think they still have there will still be a bit of ups and downs going into maybe early Jan, mid Jan. I think they have a bit of balancing to do. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Especially going forward on that whole Kylian Rodrigo axis. I think they have a bit more balancing to do. He needs a few games to really get in there. And then we asked this 3 weeks ago when it was confirmed that, or 2 weeks ago when it was confirmed that Vinicius will not be around. Now that Kylian's got into his groove, oh now, what are they going to do about it? Now that Kylian has got into his groove, what are they going to do about it? If they get into the groove and Vinicius comes, what are they going to do about it? So I think that the Liverpool game, I mean, we saw the signs. Again, he was better with, I've given him a 7.5. Alex has given him an 8.5. He's given him a 7.5. We saw from the Vox Pop there that, I mean, people are giving him more than an average of 7, which is far better than most of them would have just a couple of weeks ago. I think that they are going to balance pretty soon, But then, after that, what happens? What happens when Vinicius comes?
Question to you guys about Vinicius Jr. He just won the La Liga Player of the Month for November. He played 2 matches and scored 3 goals. He scored a hat-trick against Osasuna. But he played 2 matches. Alexander Sorloth played 4 matches and scored 3 goals as well. Am I missing something? This to me, because I was kind of confused, because I was like, wait, Vinny won, and then I was like, what did he? So I went and looked at the stats, and I was like, no, he didn't. He had a hat trick, brilliant, against Osasuna, but he played 2 games. And then I started looking at everyone, and I guess, like, okay, Barcelona, they've been, losing or drawing, even though Rafinha's been scoring more goals. Fine, okay, no result. Mallorca scores by committee, so they have same with Atleti, Atleti, Sorloth, or Julian Alvarez maybe, but Bilbao is more like that, Sociedad, same thing. Does it seem a bit odd that he won that? Is it
really.
a bad, because that to me means that La Liga had a bad month. If you're giving it to a player who played 2 games, he scored a hat trick, but that's the best that we can do? I think Sorloth maybe deserved it.
I think perhaps maybe why Sorloth didn't get it is the fact that in a few of those games he wasn't starting. Yes, he still scored the goals and he's influencing these games. He's been fantastic for Atleti this season. He's been, when he comes on, he is the focal point of that attack. I think perhaps the fact that he wasn't starting from the beginning, he was getting 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 25 minutes, and it's still impressive to score 4 goals in a month or 3 goals in a month. I think when you compare that to a hat trick, a hat trick is always impressive, and I think when you look at Real Madrid's performance against Osasuna, it was complete. It was from start to finish. Perfect is the wrong word, but really good. So I think the hat trick, and I think the fewer games, and the fact that Sorloth wasn't starting in those games, I think that probably is the reason why they pipped it towards Vinicius.
Gary, anything to say on that?
No. Look.
Don't bite.
No.
Eric wrote here, Ancelotti is saying that Vinny is realizing how good he is through the middle, and he might become the number 9 when he returns. What do you guys think about that?
Like Luis Diaz at Liverpool?
Could be.
I don't think he can't not play. I think he can play.
I think like we spoke about at the beginning of the season, you said, Alex, actually, I remember that you have to play all of them, like Rodrigo, Vinny, and Vinicius. But I think if Mbappé starts getting into his groove, that's going to be dangerous on that left side. So what do you do with Vinny? You got to move him.
I do think as well, and Ancelotti said this, I think it was previous week before Getafe, that he's starting to realise Vinicius this is. Vinicius is starting to realise that through the middle he can be a real threat. And you know, we knew how good he is on the ball, how good he is when it comes to taking on players, and his you know, his shot ability and his skills that he has. I think when you look at, you know, yes, his natural position may be on the left, but I do think he can really do a job in that middle position. And I think when you look at when he comes back, you have to play all three of them up top. And if it means playing Mbappé on the left and Vinicius through the middle, I'm all for it. I think, you know, Rodrigo on the right, I think that could be quite a dangerous strike partnership. And, you know, Bellingham's picking up performances. Tchouaméni is back to fitness, could start tomorrow. Valverde's back in the midfield. Asensio's playing well. Fran Garcia's playing really well when he does get the minutes. You know, to be honest, I think Real Madrid are really on an upward curve at the moment. You know, I think the Champions League will be the truth, the true teller of how this squad is going. And I think the injuries haven't helped, but you know, slowly these players will start coming back, and we'll start to see the Real Madrid that we know from last season.